Yes, I know I'm late, but I think there's really not much reason for me not to cover this topic. And going through YouTube, everyone has just scratched the surface of this incident. I haven't seen or heard of anyone who dove deeper, and that's why you guys have me. Not only are we gonna talk about the incident, we're also gonna talk about what is believed to be the cause, the car itself, what could have been prevented, and just overall look more into the crash heard around the world. Disclaimer: this video is made for educational purposes only. I do not condone illegal activities such as street racing. I'm only mentioning it briefly to inform you about the recent events that went on. That being said, always drive safe and abide to all traffic laws. Beetle, who you guys know as 1Stockf30, was like the Steph Curry of the car scene. Is that crazy? What I'm trying to say is he was influential. He led the way for a bunch of people and showed the true potential of the B58 engine. With originally his F30 340i, hence the name 1Stockf30, he went on to mod that car, but then eventually moved on to the G42 M240i, which was his most popular and successful build. And then more recently, the Audi TTRS, which he also modded like crazy. Pretty much, this man took underrated, not so powerful cars and showed its true potential, with his craziest build being the M240i. We'll get into that later. But Andre wasn't just modding cars, he was reshaping how we saw them. The F30 wasn't meant to be fast, and yet he turned it to a rocket ship. The M240i wasn't designed for an 8-second quarter mile, but Andre made it happen. He pushed the boundaries, you know? But with great power comes great responsibility, my friends. Or at least it should. With Andre's builds, the focus was on speed and power, but safety often took a backseat. Well, recently on November 5th, the car community was shocked to find out that Andre had unfortunately passed away in a street racing incident. YouTuber 1Stockf30 dead at 25. Damn, he was young. In a street racing crash after BMW slammed into a pole and flipped in front of horrified crowd. Look at this, right here is pretty much why these news articles are jokes. When his 2024 BMW X5 smashed into an Acura. What, they don't even remotely look the same. Hey, but at least they got the first part right. Sadly, Andre did lose control of his car in a street race. And I'm sure many of you saw the video. If you haven't, don't go look for it, out of respect for the man and his family. But it was extremely sad to say the least. But now let's talk about the car. No, not the X5, but the BMW M240i, which was quite literally an 8-second car. Don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure it was one of the fastest ever. Fastest M240i's, that is. Like, just looking at these clips, you can tell that this car is no joke. Spinning up all 4 wheels like this is damn near unheard of. But the part that bothers me the most about all this is the fact that Andre had crashed the same car a couple months before this one. Look, reading here it says, tuned BMW M240i crashes at 172 miles per hour and the driver walks away. He ran an 8.5 quarter mile time right before losing control, but by some miracle, he walked away with no injuries. But he rebuilt the car and many people are confused. If you crashed at 172 miles per hour, cause one, that's not a joke. Walking out of a 172 mile per hour crash is the type of accident that will make you question your mortality. But no, you're not immortal. Andre rebuilt the car, and despite the warnings from multiple people in his fan base, he built it again and even faster, but never prioritized the single most important thing when it comes to making these cars fast: safety. And that brings me to my next segment of this video. Was the outcome preventable? This one is a touchy subject because it's kind of hard to explain that I am not blaming him. Like, really, everyone is on his head about how he doesn't have a roll cage, how he doesn't have a 5-point harness, how he doesn't have this, how he doesn't have that. But let's take a moment to think for a second. Not saying it's right, but how many content creators out there with fast street cars do you know have a whole ass roll cage with their build, you know? But then again, not everyone has an 8-second car. You see, the thing about safety in cars like this is that it's not just about protecting yourself. It's also about protecting the people around you. A car with this much power isn't just risky for the driver. It can affect anyone on the road. If something goes wrong, the consequences can be huge. That's why some people argue that once your car crosses a certain performance level, it's not your responsibility to stay safe anymore. It's your duty to make sure you're not putting others at risk, you know? Whether that means upgrading your brakes or even just knowing when and where to push your car to its limits. It's something we should all think about, and it's sad that this had to happen. Again, I'm gonna keep saying that, but we should all use it as a learning experience, you know? But it makes us think, what is the point where you need the extra safety? And that's my question for you guys watching today. What is the deciding factor that makes a car go from street car to race car? Where it will need a diaper, a roll cage, a 5-point harness, and all that. Whether it's a horsepower number, a specific time slip, or just whatever. I want to know what the deciding factor is that makes you go, okay, this car should not be taken lightly anymore on safety. I'm actually curious. Me personally, I think it's more of how proving the engine is. Like, some motors can handle 1,000 horsepower better than others. dangerous. So if you're stepping into unproven territory like Andre did, then yes, by all means, do not risk safety. And also while you're down there typing your answer, hit the sub button for me and like the video. So back to my question, was the crash preventable? Absolutely it was. But should we blame him for it? No, because a lot of us would have done the same thing. It's just unfortunate that Andre was the wake-up call. But how exactly did the crash even happen? Well, according to this source, Andre died after crashing his car into a metal pole at a high rate of speed. But on no sources is it confirmed exactly what caused him to lose control. But a lot of people believe his motor blew up, which then released fluids, which then got under his tires and caused them to spin out. I think this is the most sensible explanation, because in the crash video, right before he spins out, there's a whole lot of smoke coming out of the car. So it would make sense if his motor did give out, but then that would make me double down on my point that the crash was 100% preventable. That's where an engine diaper comes in and saves the day. If you guys don't know what that is, it's pretty much used to catch oil, coolant, and just fluids in general in case of an engine failure. It stops it from spilling onto the ground and under your tires. In this case, which would have prevented the crash. A roll cage, a 5-point harness, and an engine diaper might seem excessive for a street car, but when your car is running 8-second quarter-mile times, it's no longer just a street car. It's an actual race car. But well, it already happened, so me saying all this isn't gonna do anything. But that's why it's gotta be a learning experience after all. It's just unfortunate that we had to learn this way rather than any other way. As you'd expect, the community reaction is double-sided. On one hand, people are showing their respect and recognizing Andre for the influential person he was. And honestly, I agree with them. Realistically, even if you feel like he didn't make the smartest choices, no one deserves to go out like that at such a young age. And that's what the other half of the community doesn't seem to understand. Instead of reading the room, they find it as an opportunity to clown around and say he deserved it. And that's so crazy to me. But like I said, I'm glad that now the community is more aware of the dangers of these activities without safety. I'm just sad that this is what it took for everyone to understand. It's easy to criticize from the sidelines, but let's not forget, Andre was a human being. He made mistakes like we all do, and unfortunately, his mistake cost him everything. So instead of pointing fingers, let's focus on what we can learn. All I'm saying is, if you're building a fast car, invest in your safety. I'm talking roll cages, engine diapers, fire extinguishers, and helmets. Sure, it might seem like overkill, but it's better to be overkill than overkilled. I'm sorry. At the end of the day, One Stock Story isn't just a tragedy, it's a lesson. So like I said, please, please, please remember to drive safe. Take it easy, my friends, and until next time. If you enjoyed this video and want to watch another one on a creator who isn't the safest of drivers, click right here.